What's up, everybody? It is HomiesOfMars back again today with another video. I was planning on this video to have a tomb guide out around this time, but unfortunately me and Talwar never got together and I've been gone for a few days, so it really sucks to not have an actual really good video out in the past week, but now I'm finally going to get you guys something, and I really wanted to get this one out. So this is the WC guide. The tomb guide there's no ETA. It'll be out when it's ready. I might even have a few more videos before that comes out. I have no idea. It just depends on the time and how well we can get it done, because the tomb guide is going to be, we'll want to spend some time on it. I don't want to just bull crap the whole thing. And we want to make sure it's worth your time watching all of it. And I wanted to put some time in this guide too, and to make sure you guys get all the information you can. So anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and without further ado, let's get into this guide. Alright, so once you kill orcs too, in this case I hadn't eaten myself, so I just went ahead and popped it. That's the way you open up a wine cellar, by the way. So we're just going to go ahead and pause right here, right as we get in. So as you can tell, people spawn at the very bottom of the map and the top of the map. And you can see right now, as I pull up a fully finished map, you can see that it's kind of like, it's not really much of the maze. You just kind of walk around the top, and then you go through the middle and go straight to orcs. And that's how Orcs 2 works. But as we come back to the game, you'll see I start out running, and my whole goal to this video is me showing how to rush if you are in first place, and if you're getting to orcs first, how do you rush like that. And if you aren't in first place, you have to realize that you're just gonna run with the group. If you're new to a wine cellar, you don't know how to run through, just run with people, and it'll be a lot easier. But if you're first, you have to think about more things a little bit. You have to make sure you don't run into things as easily, because being first, you have more advantages and some disadvantages. So as you run right up, these enemies, they haven't actually really activated yet, because the wine cellar was just opened. But you can see straight off the bat there's always going to be these two enemies here, and we're going to name them off. Now the blue guy is called the Abomination of Orcs. Now he's the only scary guy that you really have to worry about, because he does a lot of damage, and he has each shot he has does 50 damage, but he does 23 of them at once, or well, and like just a big giant shotgun, and that can do upwards of 160 damage with 43 defense. So he's pretty scary, especially if you don't have max defense. And the guy down here, the light green looking guy, he's actually not that bad. All he is this guy called the Monstrosity of Orcs, and he'll spawn these things called Monstrosity Scarabs, but other than that, he doesn't do anything. He just kind of sits there and looks at you. So as you run into this room right here, you can see I'm kind of hugging the wall. That's another thing you need to realize, is that I'm going to be hugging the wall for most of this. And you can see straight off there are there's actually 3 new enemies that we haven't seen already. Now the gray guy in the very corner, he is called the Henchman of Orcs. And you're going to see this guy through most of the wine cellar, because he's the guy that kind of spawns. He spawns the Aberrant, the Abomination, and the Monstrosity. And he's the scariest one, in my opinion, while you're rushing, because he will shoot out these boomerangs that can confuse you. If we go ahead and see one in a minute, you can see it's going to be thrown out right here. This boomerang, if you hit it, it'll confuse you for 1.5 seconds. Now, he does do these 3 blue bolts that, they'll come at you. They do 80 damage, but most of the time he's going to miss those. Now, it's harder to sometimes dodge the confused bolts, but you need to make sure you dodge these confused boomerangs, because, if you get confused in the wine cellar, it can be very annoying. And we can also see this one enemy right here. This is what we call the Aberrant of Orcs. All he does is spawn these things called the Aberrant Blaster, and if we see one, we'll call it out, but right now he doesn't actually do anything. You don't really have to worry about him. The other guy that's kind of down here, we can back up the video real quick. This guy right here, what is it? I think it's called the Vintner of Orcs. Yeah, this guy right here, he throws out these bottles, these wine bottles at you, and all he does is, the wine bottles will do 50 damage each. Of course, if you have max defense, it's going to be like, you're looking at 7 to, it's going to be very little. But it'll make you drunk for 4 seconds. That can be annoying, but really it's more about dodging the confused than anything else when you're rushing. So that room was pretty easy. This room is somewhat challenging. Of course, there's another Vintner showing. He's gonna throw all those things to you. You make sure you just dodge those confused boomerangs. You're all good. Okay, and you can see the group behind me. They're gonna kind of go around too, and it's all about running past these enemies. Back then, you used to clear things, but now you don't. This room is the easiest because you just kind of stay near the corner. And if you're on the opposite side, you'll just do the same thing. It just looks like it's the opposite. Now, this room is pretty filled. And this is when, you're going to start seeing these guys, the little purple goo guys. They're called the bile of orcs. And you just don't want to run through them, run through their slime. Because if you do, you'll get sickened and slowed. And when you're sick, you cannot drink any potions whatsoever. You cannot drink HP potions or MP potions. So you're not going to be able to get back your health. So that means if you get sick, slowed, confused, and drunk, they're going to pile on top of you, and more than likely you're going to have to nexus out of there or sit there and die, or somehow, by a slim chance, get out of there alive. Again, I just walk right by them. It's literally that easy. You can actually already see in the very bottom left corner of the screen, you can see these little circle things, these little guys. These are actually the Monstrosity Scarabs. And if they sit on top of you, now here's the thing, they shoot out 12 shots from within inside of them. And and if they sit on top of you, each shot does 50 damage. So if you do the math on that, that can be that can be almost up to 100 damage if you have like 42 defense. But if you're like a knight or something more tankier, it's not that bad. Now this is the last stretch before you get to orcs too. And again, this whole time I've been kind of going up against the wall. That's one thing you need to remember. But this time, enemies have been spawned. They're kind of roaming around a little bit more. So going along the wall isn't actually always a good idea. So again, I want to make sure I kind of go this way, okay? I want to make sure I get away from these confused, okay? I've noticed he just shot off a confused boomerang, so I can kind of walk near him, and it's not going to be really mattering as much. And of course, I do get out with a drunk, but again, I avoid that guy over there. It's more avoiding the boomerangs that will confuse you. Again, that's really about it. And so look, we're already done rushing the wine cellar. It was that easy. And especially, I recommend, you have max speed. Of course, it's going to be easy on an assassin. It's going to be really easy on a rogue. It can be easy to rush on a warrior because, you have that speed boost and you have a lot of defense. And, any other class, you can clear easily. You can really rush on any class, actually. It's just going to be, a tad bit slower. And, having higher defense always is going to help you. Now, right when we get into orcs, there's a couple things you need to know. He has all of his minions just sitting around him spawned, and they are very annoying. If you get confused again by these little boomerangs, that's really all you have to watch out for. But at this point, we're going to go ahead and go down the line and tell you exactly what Orcs' full shotgun is. And if you don't even know what a shotgun is, basically, you can already kind of see it. It's basically he just throws out this big line of stars. You can see he just keeps spewing them out. And you can also tell, as me being an assassin, I'm kind of circling him until I start to get to other people. I circle him and throw these poisons because, the enemies are going to have to chase me to actually do anything to me. So we're going to get a couple of his stars on the screen so we can go ahead and start describing what some of these stars do. So right now, you can see, let's see again, we can see these, there's a few stars already on the screen. Now, these orange bolts right here, this is also thrown out by orcs too. This thing only does 135 damage total, but if you have defense, it's going to be less than 100. Max defense on that point, and have some good armor. Now these aren't that bad because these are pretty easy to dodge. But the thing that's annoying are these stars, and each star can have its own annoying effect in every way. Now one thing you need to realize is that every star does 160 damage, unless you have defense, of course. But there is one star that has the exception to that. But first, we're going to look at these two different stars represented right here. You can see that this green star, alright, it's just this green star. If you hit it, it'll slow you for 10 seconds. Now that's really annoying. That's the longest affecting star. That's the thing that'll affect you the longest out of the rest. But then you have this little purple one right here, which will blind you for 5 seconds. So if you get slowed and blind, which he shoots out them like right beside each other, that can be very, very annoying, especially when you're in a wine cellar. As we can see, he just shot out a few more. Now, here's a new one. This is the blue star. Now, the blue star just does the same as this blue boomerang or star, if you want to say. This will confuse you for 5 seconds. All right, and being confused for 5 seconds is a long time. And keep in mind, this is the fastest moving star out of all the star groups. So they will move very fast. Okay, and you just need to watch out for them. Now we have a few more stars that we can see. Now these white stars right here. They will quiet you for 3 seconds. It's more about just quieting you. And if you're in any class, like, an assassin especially, it can be annoying being quieted because you can't throw your poisons for 3 seconds, and you have to drink more MP potions just to do more. And now the red star, this is the exception. This red star will pierce your armor and do a full 160 damage. And of course, we saw this purple star that will blind you already. So we've already gone through all the stars, and we just have a few more things that orcs will shoot out. Keep playing. Of course, I'm throwing all these poisons. Now here's another thing that we need to talk about. You can see, if you see this little star that just spawned, this orange-looking thing, this is this little thing right here is spawned from the Aberrant of Orcs. It's somewhere, he's on the screen, but basically he spawns them. It doesn't really matter who spawns them, it's just that they get spawned, and it's called the Aberrant Blaster. This will shoot out shots that do 50 damage each, and it's only 6 shots, and they see how it shoots them out, and it's actually not that bad if you sit on top of it. So if you have max defense, you don't really have to worry about them unless you have a lot of them. As you can see, it'll shoot out in my direction. And it only does shoot 6 shots, and it does 60 damage or 50 damage each. So remember that. Keep playing a little bit, and we're gonna get. Now, once we've killed all of his henchmen, all right, he has this message, and he's pretty mad about that, and he goes into an invulnerability phase for a little while, and then he'll take damage for a little while. And it's all about getting the Knight's Chains on it. And basically, he sits here until we get him into Rage. And this is Rage, right here. Once you get these big ring of stars just thrown out, once he gets to 2,000 or 20,000 HP, he would go to Rage mode. Now, there's one more thing that is represented from a shotgun that I wanted to show you guys here. And that is these little white straight lines right here. He shoots out 3 of them. And they only really go out 4.5 squares from him, so it's a really close range shot. But they do 240 damage each. So if you tank all of them without defense, you're definitely dead. But it's going to be hard to. You have to be sitting on top of him anyways. And of course, you can see this knight here is in a close call, but luckily I think he gets out. Other than that, that's all of his orc shotgun, And we're going to pull up this little chart on the screen in a second. But before I do, I want to show you these rings. He shoots out a ring of these little stars. Now, the black star will quiet you for 20 seconds. Now, that is ridiculously long. And if you thought that was long, just look at this. These little white ones, these will weaken you for 60 seconds, which is extremely annoying for anybody that's ranged and that uses their auto attacks to hurt orcs. So as you can see, when he's in rage phase, he runs around a lot, and he'll spawn the little Monstrosity Scarabs, and he'll just be running around and this is why I'm very patient. I've already thrown all my poisons, alright? And I've already gotten my Soulbound, supposedly, and apparently, supposedly, Soulbound is 750 damage, but, I can't say that for sure, but that's just what I've heard from a few different people, and I just kind of go off that. But either way, it's really just do as much damage as you can, and you're most likely going to make Soulbound anyways. And just because you have Soulbound, again, doesn't mean you're going to get something. Because I'm an assassin, I want to sit back and just throw my poisons like always. And this is why I really recommend using the assassin for the first time you're doing O2, because it's a relatively easy class to do it on. As you can see, I get quieted. And basically now you just wait till he dies. Either wait for my poisons to finish him off or wait for other people to finish him off. And now, you see, he dies. Alright. Now, before I look in the bag, I wanted to go ahead and tell you guys what Orcs 2 drops. Orcs 2 can drop Tier 10 through Tier 12 weapons, Tier 5 and Tier 6 abilities, Tier 11 through Tier 13 armors and whatnot, Tier 5 rings, a potion of defense, potion of attack, potion of wisdom, and potion of vitality. Now, once you're done killing him, the whole wine cellar is over. And now is the time to check what you got. And I was lucky, very, very lucky enough to get 2 Tier 6 spells called the Elemental Detonation spells. and get 2 of them at once. Now, getting 2 tops at one time is very rare, and I've only gotten it maybe 1 other time. And also I got a wisdom, but you know, I was so excited to see this in the bag. I was just really glad. You know, I'm excited to see 1 top, much less 2 tops in one bag. Now, again, you're not always going to get something. Maybe you might get a tier 5 ability. Maybe you might get a tier 12. I mean, you know, you get a tier 11 weapon, or even, you know, something lower, or you know, like a tier 12 armor. Which again, it's not bad getting those lower end things. You know, especially if you're newer, and it can help you. Of course, you need to realize anything he drops is going to be at least worth something. All right, even if it's just a speed, for that matter. But once you're done, once you get your drop, you go ahead and feel happy about yourself. You know, usually you get something good, you call it out, and tell your friends what you've gotten. In my case, I got these 2 things. But like I said, guys, rushing a wine cellar is pretty easy. You know, especially on on the class that it depends what class you're on, really. But you can do it on any class. As long as you run along with the people around you, you know, it's the more people, the easier it is going to be. It is to rush. But you know, it's all about dodging those confuses and staying out of the way of the bile of orcs. You know, the big purple slimy guy. And if you can do that, rushing a wine cellar is actually really easy. And I hope you guys notice from this video that hey, you know, I can do that. I can do a wine cellar, and I want you to, because a wine cellar will get you on your way to being maxed and getting rich. And you know, the more you do the wine cellar, the more confident you will be with the game. So anyways, guys, I hope I covered everything, and I hope I've given you enough confidence to go and do it yourself. And again, just try it out. And you know, it's always, you know, I can't teach you the experience from this video. You're gonna have to go and experience the wine cellar yourself. But hopefully, I've given you some knowledge, some peace of mind, so you guys can do one. And you know, I like going down the line and specifically naming all the enemies and telling you exactly what they do. Anyways, guys, I hope you have a good rest of the day, and I will see you guys in the next video.